truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise you never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on I love my God to keep them bands on me. And you may say I'm tripping, I'm your fan only. I love the time that we be spending low-key. And I know they rockin' with me when his hands on me. Oh, this is all I know. I know you're riding with me when the times get low. So I be on a mission till your plan I go. And I can tell you vibe with me. Oh, you protect me from every weapon. And every lesson there's a blessing. And there's a reason why I'm rapping. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise he never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my. Every time I think about your love, love, love. Finally got somebody I can trust. Why you keeping me? I really just don't know. As you can see, we got it going up. Yeah, because of you. And when I got you beside me, I can't lose. And all that hating, they talking, it ain't true. And I'ma tell the world, cause they gotta know. Protect me from every weapon. And every lesson, there's a blessing. And there's a reason why I'm rapping. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise he never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise he never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my. Yeah. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise he never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my. I love my God to keep them bands on me. And you may say I'm tripping, I'm your fan only. I love the time that we be spending low-key. And I know they rockin' with me when his hands on me. Oh, this is all I know. I know you're riding with me when the times get low. So I be on a mission till your plan I go. And I can tell you vibe with me. Oh, you protect me from every weapon. And every lesson there's a blessing. And there's a reason why I'm rapping. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, yeah, just showing off. Yeah, I promise he never took a loss. If I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Wait a second, let me brag on my God. Hear the truth, I ain't just telling y'all. You can count it, he never took a loss. And if I'ma tell it, I gotta tell it all. Hold on, wait a second, let me brag on my. Every time I think about your love, love, love. Finally got somebody I can trust. Why you keeping me? I really just.
Welcome to the Confluence Podcast. I am your host, Dio Tekoa. And man, let me tell you, I absolutely love you. Can I hear some of the noise from the Confluencers in the room? Man, I'm so excited. This is going to be such an exciting episode today. I think the content that we're going to be diving into is something that is so needed. But listen, I have the privilege to have my whole squad is here. My team is here. Listen, we can't do this if it was not for the incredible team. Come on. I got Ursula in the back. Whoop, whoop. Make some noise.
Come on. Yes.
Jamil and Christian, they on the sound engineers. Come on.
Yes.
Man.
Come on.
We got, of course, our facilitators who helped here with Donovan and Francis. We have Glendy. We have Asia. Listen, I'm going to get in trouble, but listen, I want everybody to know, thank you so much for helping out make this thing happen, right? We have our, Rico and Sharina. Listen, we have such an incredible team, and so thank you guys. This is so exciting. Now, nevertheless, we ready to get cranking?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
Man, I feel great. Hey, I just wanted to, I'm just kind of thinking just then, man, that you have a great leader here. When the first thing that comes to his mind is says thank you to the team. A sign of a good leader is a team that comes up behind them. So wow. That's a good thing when you see someone of a leader saying that, hey, saying the word we, not I. And
absolutely.
That's a good thing there.
Never an I.
Yeah.
And you over here talking. I haven't introduced you yet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for that, though, man. Again, my wife and I, she's not here today. Normally, you guys see my beautiful, amazing wife. He is nowhere near as good looking as she is. So I know you probably are disappointed because you can't see my amazing wife. But she was not able to make it today. But certainly, man, I'm so excited to be rocking with you. But listen, guys, I have one of my dearest friends who is going to be with us for the next 45 minutes or so. And we're going to dive into some really fun conversations. But listen, first, before we do all of that, introduce yourself, man. Share a little bit about who you are, anything that comes to your heart. And really and truly, what I like to talk about is the fact that you're massively successful. Listen, you're one of my great friends, and I share this with you all the time. I'm in awe when I hear you speak, particularly because you have so many relationships that are massively influential Christians or people. Billionaires, we'll talk about this, but billionaires whom you talk to every single week, people who are shaking up the city, the nation, whom you're talking to every single week, and I'm like, what? And so I just love knowledge, right? The Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And so, man, I know you didn't get there overnight, though.
No, sir. No, not even close.
Right?
I'm still tracking. I'm trending right now. But no, it's the amount we're going to dive into it, but the amount of frustrated nights I've had in my life and days of not and comparing, whether I'm comparing or whether I think I'm failing or whether I'm there's hardship and there's things blocking me from what I think is a goal. That is, and we're just beginning, right? But wow. It's been like that since honestly day one, and I think that's what God has, really lined up for me and just really teed it up for me to. And as Christians, we're called. It's part of our calling to not be easy. You know what I mean? But we're going to talk more about it. But we have more armor built up than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So we understand spiritual warfare. We have discernment. We understand that this is growth. We understand that God's going to reign after all this, right? So anyway, that's
you can feel it. You can feel it. Y'all can feel the roller coaster. We go.
Hello. Yeah. I haven't even said my name yet. So no, but I'm Robin Rosado. I'm from here. I'm from born and raised here in Orlando. Actually, Oviedo, Florida, to be exact. If you guys know where that's at. And I grew up in Oviedo when it was red. It was country, and people didn't know what to do with me. Look at me, right? So, but it was, and that's where I grew up. I went to school. So I played golf in college at University of South Carolina, and for a little bit. Yep, that's right. Yes. They won this weekend. Come on, and then I've been in the golf world, floating around that. So. I tried my hand at playing professionally. That was a tough road. I joke around saying that if my bank account was in the green, that was a good month, wow. During that period of time. It's like starting a business when you try to go as a pro in golf, right? You don't have a team, you don't have an owner, so you don't have funding. It's just you, and if you're not a big name on TV, then it's just you. So you got to either raise funds, you got to come from a wealthy family, however way you got to figure it out. You got to work as you try to make it. And so it was truly like everyone's in the red. But no one, I tell a lot of athletes that I coach in life that you got to look at it as a business. You can't think of it as 21, not unless you're a prodigy. You're not going to be just making millions of dollars right away. You got to look at it as really starting a business. 2-3 years. Okay, maybe I'm making a little bit of return here. And then I start getting really momentum. So not until, I've done the math on it.
Delayed gratification.
Very much so. As a professional golfer, right, that's what I know, very much so. But as a business owner, too, that's what I very much know, too. So, and you know how that is. And so what I do now, I've been in the golf world here and there, helped start a company, in the online space, and part of that from the ground up. I wasn't the founder, but I was been there from the ground up, and just recently made my exit from there. But from that, I've spawned off a lot of entrepreneurial ideas that I'm just kind of I'm a little bit of everywhere right now. But my main thing, what I do now, the reason why I'm in front of a lot of CEOs and athletes and even celebrities is I'm a performance coach by trade. So performance coach, some people call it executive coaching or leadership coaching or life coaching. And more of the new trend is called performance coaching. And that's what I do now. And there's a lot of things that stem from it, which I know we'll dive into. But it's allowed me to become also entrepreneurial as well through that. Wow. And be around some incredible people, right? It allows me to serve. I've been called to serve, right? That's what I serve at a very high level. And I think all of us have been called to serve, but that's my thing, is to serve those who, you hear this saying that it truly is lonely at the top, right? And I haven't met one person. I make the example of this. Like, let's say if you're a CEO of a Fortune 100 company, and you go to another CEO who's a friend, because they all know each other, and they go to a friend that says maybe you have some sort of business relationship with them, say, man, I'm really struggling with my marriage right now. That could be really bad for the whole entire company. Wow. If he tells another CEO, or even not even a CEO, just somebody in the industry.
The consequences of being vulnerable.
That's it. And so they don't have spaces. Well, they even create spaces, but it's so high level that it doesn't become real. And so what God's allowed me to do is in essence, I shouldn't say the word me infiltrate, but I'm allowed to come alongside and be I kind of like to say I'm a golden retriever for some of these CEOs, because I'm just there like, you're doing great, it's all good, bro, but so that's kind of what I do, as well as, again, I work with a lot of athletes and golfers as a performance coach and life coach, but everything that I do is all kingdom focused. So there's an underlying purpose of it, and the way I live, or the way I communicate, or even just bringing people alongside me. Like tomorrow, I'm going to an event with Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I'm bringing a couple of the college players at UCF, and two of which who don't know the Lord. And so then just kind of like, hey, come with me, and then hopefully we just begin to plant seeds.
That's your ministry in many ways as well.
Yeah, sure.
So you're utilizing your gift to really bring people into the kingdom.
Yeah. It's just providing opportunities and spaces for people. I like to say, for people to become curious. Like, why? What's different with Robin? What's different with this organization? What is different? Why? Like I mean, nothing but complimenting you on y'all's church. I mean, you guys do things at a very high level. You could tell, and I see it. I'm very much involved with a company that you may know is Chick-fil-A, and they do things at a very high level. And so I see it all the time, like excellence. You see excellence, and I see it here. But that provides. It's not just because you want to be excellent. It's not because you just want things to look good. And yes, it is inspirational for others. But when someone comes in here, they can also be curious and be like, what makes this place so awesome? Why is it so? What's the lighting so good? Why is the sound speaker so really, really good? You know what I mean? So it's like, and so it allows people to become curious who don't know, and be like, you can see the common theme here is that they all love Jesus, right? And so then they all have a love for each other in the community. And it's like, and that you can't help but come alongside it or try to be, the hardest person can't help.
You've said so much, right? first of all, the power of curiosity. Dude. Like, I've never associated excellence with curiosity until you just said that.
Yeah. Well,
I've in all my life, as many books as I have read, I have never connected the ability to execute with excellence and curiosity.
yeah.
Dude, that is a mouthful. So we can talk a little bit about that as well. But you can't just breeze over what you said about Chick-fil-A either.
Yeah.
You said that you're involved with Chick-fil-A, which by all means eat more chicken. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yes.
I am a Chick-fil-A monster.
Yeah.
I truly am.
Yeah,
My whole
you and I
family.
both.
I had a Chick-fil-A biscuit this morning, babe. I'm sorry. But I had a Chick-fil-A biscuit after dropping the kids off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right.
So it is what it is. But tell me some of your how are you involved with Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a quick story. So one of my mentors in life is Dan Cathy. So he's a chairman of Chick-fil-A. His dad, Truett, started Chick-fil-A.
So his father started.
Yeah, Truett started it in the 40s.
Chick-fil-A.
And Dan is kind of known for really taking it from the 80s and really bringing it to what you see today. And Dan stepped down as CEO.
I don't like how you say things so casually.
That
bothers me a little bit. That bothers me. It does. You gotta humble yourself, man. Dude. The visionary who literally took Chick-fil-A from what it was in 1980 to what Chick-fil-A is today.
That's right.
He is the chairman. He runs this thing.
Yeah.
Him and his son, the son is the CEO.
Andrew is the current CEO.
So his son is the CEO, but he's the chair who took the strategy and built Chick-fil-A to be what it is today.
That's right.
And you just hang out with him on a regular basis.
Yeah, so I went to church with him on Sunday.
So you just went to church with the chairman of Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, it was just hanging out. You know, it was just worshiping Jesus. But it was, yeah.
Come on, man, that's crazy to
me.
Don't be so casual next time.
No, but you know, it's pretty crazy sometimes. When I do things. So the story how I met Dan. So with my previous company that I was with, you know, we were in the golf instruction world, and we were pretty well known. We pioneered the YouTube golf thing. So we, millions and millions of views a month, and then we had a lot of members. So COVID. During COVID, a lot of people were playing golf. And so I had my assistant one day calling me on a Sunday saying, hey, you're going to get a call from Dan from Atlanta. And just, if you see Atlanta, just pick up. And it was a Sunday after church, it's like 2 o'clock or so. And he calls me and says, hey, Robin, this is Dan Cathy from Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, I'm doing a Google search as I'm like on the phone, he's on speaker. And I stepped out of my house because I have kids and it was crazy. And I'm Googling, I was like, oh, man. I was just like, really? And so then we were talking, and it was something that I've taken just from that first phone call. Our conversation was 30 minutes or so, and it was all about Jesus. It was all about faith, all about,
he wanted Put your hands together for that. That's amazing.
It was amazing.
So the chairman of Chick-fil-A calls you.
That's right, yeah.
Which I'm still wrapping my head around.
Yeah, it's pretty,
But he calls you, and for 30 minutes, you guys are talking about Jesus.
He was just, his first things, and I'll tell you more of like a lot of the, very big leaders in the world who love the Lord. They have the same commonality when they meet you. So he was asking everything about me. Now, part of it was actually, I learned it's kind of his interview process too, who he lets into his circle. But also, it really is, like I think I've met almost like borderline every Fortune 100. And I go to CEO Forum every year, and I will be going to CEO Forum here coming up. And the CEO Forum is a place where big-time, Fortune 500 company CEOs who are Christians gather together for a conference in leadership. So Craig Rochelle, if you know Craig Rochelle, he kind of spearheads that. And so the one thing I've learned, and I've met every single one of these CEOs who have a purpose, right, and kingdom purpose. They tell me about you. Like, it's just like, tell me about who you are. How many kids do you have? Tell me about your wife. It's asking questions and intensely asking, and they'll remember it. How's your wife? How's Katie? And that's my wife. How's Katie? They'll remember the next time. And it's like, I can name off, and it's consistent, those who love. And now I've also worked. Let me back up, because the reason why Dan called me is because we had a golf academy with our online space, right? So, and I was running that golf academy. So he wanted to go. He just saw us on YouTube, and he wanted to golf us. He's like, I felt like you love Jesus, and I felt like the Lord was telling me to call you. So, wow. And so I wanted. So he,
that's so
since the first
favor.
time, it was amazing.
That's so much favor, man.
It was a start of something really beautiful in my life personally, and what God was really teaming me up for. But it was incredible, and since then we've had a strong relationship. We had a few hours together, and there's nothing like golf to provide space of vulnerability, because no one can master it. And you can see I've worked with major NFL players, and they hit it just as far as a 10-year-old does, and they're just like, what's happening here? So it's a space of golf is an opportunity of vulnerability that you can come alongside somebody. And I think he just got drawn to me. We just had like this iron sharpens iron moment, and ever since then that was 3-ish years ago. And
now you guys just on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So there's so much that this is where our conversations become so long, because right, I just love hearing you talk because of these experiences. And then you're saying these things so casually, and I'm like, oh, wait, don't move that fast. Because number one, you said, first of all, he found you because you were doing what you love.
Yeah, in my platform of, I was a player, now I'm a coach,
so
that's where God just put me.
To me, that alone is like, if I was to put together a framework, which I love frameworks just from my past as a consultant, I'm thinking, do what you love.
Yeah.
Take time to do what you love, to do what you're passionate about, to do what you're called for, to put time into your gift, because the time will come that doors are going to open, aka just like what you saw, but it would not come through your hands. That call would not have happened if you wouldn't put the time into it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm a big person on, if you love the Lord and you love Jesus, and you feel like you're walking in step with Him, your passion is God ordained, and He's put that in your heart. And your ideas and your vision is, if you feel like you're walking and you're doing your due diligence of getting the Word and being consistent with your prayer life and surrendering, walking daily with your palms up, and just in complete surrenderance. I fully believe that any idea, any passion that comes into your mind is God ordained. Now, but the thing is that we cannot. The thing that misses a lot of entrepreneurs is, as Christians, we sometimes get into this idea is that God just lays it all out perfectly for us, and we just kind of walk through it, and that is not the case. It is not inspirational for people if it's easy.
Come on.
So as a Christian, and now you're potentially walking the path of in the marketplace or in the corporate world of kingdom focus, and coming from a place like, for me, I can go in my background. I came from nothing. I came from a single mom, nothing. You come from that. I mean, it's not supposed to be easy, because it's not going to be inspirational for others. If it's easy, you're looking at the people in Dubai. And it's like it's unattainable, right? If you just see Lambos parked on the side all the time, you just look at that as a dream and a fantasy, but it's unattainable. But when you see the kid who came from nothing, who grew up in a podunk town as the only brown kid in there, who no one knew what it was, with a mother who is working 2 jobs, who I never saw because she was working so hard, but then now is in the company of billionaires and athletes and CEOs and pouring into them, and they can lean on me, that's way more inspirational than a guy who struck oil in Dubai.
Wow.
So
come on.
You have to, but that's the one thing. I'm such a big person on steps. Like my word last year was a step. Just keep taking a step. You have to keep stepping. Walk with your nose in front of your toes. If you walk with your nose in front of your toes, you're forced to take a step. And so you just have to.
Wait, say that again. It's like the gems that keep dropping. I love it, man. Walk with your nose in front of your toes. Because you can only go towards.
You have to take a step. You have to take a step. If you walk, you try it. Like you try it right now, and you walk, put your notes. You're going to step forward.
So good, man.
You have to. As like I said, as all of us here, who, and again, someone who just yearned for, like, not being dropped off in a beaten up car at school by my mom. Like, just yearned for just things that, like, I just wish I had like a Toyota Camry. Like anything. You just have to continue. I'm 36 years old, and like I'm just getting started, in my opinion. And then when I'm 70, I'm gonna say I'm just getting started. And that's as Christians, you just have to continue to take steps towards what you feel God has put into your heart. And then if you, again, going back to what I was saying before, if you're a Christian and if you love the Lord and you're walking in step with Him, then your vision and your ideas and your passion is God ordained. And the Bible calls us to be confident in Him. So it says we have to be confident with our ideas. We have to be confident with our steps. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Wow. Because it's not inspirational. And it's not, you don't grow through it. You don't learn through it, right? So that's why I'm also, again, going to, go with the thing with Chick-fil-A and well, not really Chick-fil-A. Let's go, not as an organization. Let's go with like someone like Dan. Like I was with him one time. We were going through like his office, and he has this like team of assistants there, and his one main.
He has more than one assistant.
There's like 12, and but he has like 2 that are main, and they're awesome. They're incredible. They're just 2, maybe in their 60s, Southern women, but they're on it, and Miss Carol goes like, she said something about, she said the word slow down, and he goes, hey, that's a curse word in my books. Like, he was just like, stop me. He's like, we don't say slow down around here. Like, it was just like, he just, me, I'm just keep going. But it's so true, as believers, we have to just sprint, right? You can't let it think that it's going to be perfectly, God puts the vision, but then you have to take the steps. You do. And then God comes alongside you. Right? He just and that's the biggest part that I see a lot of I try to pour into a lot of young entrepreneurs or business owners or even people in the corporate world, that you cannot think, especially if you're a Christian, you cannot think that God's going to lay out clearly every single step. Now, we can ask for clarity in situations. That's a whole different subject, but we have to take the steps.
You have to take faith without works.
Exactly.
Faith without works.
Have confidence, and I didn't gain that confidence. From day one. I didn't gain that 21, 27. I didn't say a word till I was 16. I was so shy because I had nobody around. So I didn't say a word. I just remember thinking one summer, I was like, if I don't say anything, I'm literally going to die in high school. I better step up and say a word. And so I forced myself. So I think I'm naturally an introvert, but I forced myself to speak up. I forced myself.
That is so good, man.
But it was just, I had to. And so, maybe that was the first part. Like,
so putting yourself in uncomfortable predicaments.
Yeah, I had to take steps.
You cannot get comfortable, because in comfort you're going to die. That's what you said.
Yeah,
You said that if I don't speak up and do something, I'm going to die.
Yeah,
I will. Where's the growth? Where's the progress?
That's right. Yeah.
And then you forced yourself to get into what you were not comfortable with.
Yes.
But you knew it was needed.
Yeah, and I'm constantly kind of doing that to this day. I think I'm still doing that and again, going back to what I was saying before, that's where just God's kind of called us to be uncomfortable and get out of our own way. And that's whatever area that you're in. I'm not just speaking to entrepreneurs. Like, if your vision is being a doctor, if your vision is being, working, climbing the corporate ladder, that is really, 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 really important. But I'm just such a person, because I feel like I waited too long to think sometimes that God, show up. I thought that was like, hey, like, show up here. Come on, like, where are you? And then he was just like, his thing was like, I had to grow so much to take those steps towards the next thing. Keep taking those steps. And I'm still doing that to this day. Keep taking those steps. But
even a billionaire is still doing that.
Oh my God!
Because, from what you said earlier, Dan's mindset is, I'm not slowing down.
No,
And I'm assuming he's what, 70?
70 on the number, yep. And he's in great health. He runs every day. He runs 3 miles or more every day.
He's saying, I'm not slowing down.
No, I mean, so one project he's working on right now is he owns Trilith Movie Studios. If you guys heard of Trilith Movies in Atlanta, so that's where all the Marvel films are filmed, all of Netflix, Mr. Beast. Steve Harvey has a studio there, Family Feud's filmed out of there.
And he owns all this.
Netflix. So he owns, the land, and it was his vision. So it started with Pinewood in England, the vision of it. And so he had a vision of, so I'll tell you the reasoning why. So,
do y'all see what I'm talking about? Like, I just love hearing this. Please continue.
But so the reasoning, he was in England, I think it's Pinewood or Pikewood is the movie studio. So Loki is, that's still filmed there. So anything that's like Marvel that's filmed in the UK is still filmed at those studios. But he had this vision while he was there. It's like, we can do this in Atlanta. But the purpose is how do we influence the world? How do we have people to know Jesus in a mass way? How do we influence? Well, we influence the people who are influencing them. So he's like, we can bring in actors and actresses and producers and bring them into this town of Trilith, which is a town. You can own a home there. And then the studios are all on the outskirts of it. They have a church. So Passion City has a church. Lou Gigley has a church there on campus or on the town. And so you have all this me and we environment. So you have Chris Pratt interacting with, a local person with Jesus. But you feel the presence of Jesus all around you when you're in this town. But it's done in excellence. It's done with high, and the whole place is geothermal. So there's no expense spared, but also it's an opportunity for people, let's say Hollywood, to come in. Now everyone from Hollywood's coming over to Atlanta because they passed the tax law there. And so you have Hollywood moving over. It's now bigger than Hollywood. And so then how do we influence the masses? And this is the vision that he had. How do we influence the masses? We influence those who are influencing the masses. So he mentors Chris Pratt. If you know Chris Pratt is, kind of new into his faith. He's the one that did Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep. He's coming into his faith. So Dan personally mentors Chris Pratt in his faith currently. Wow. And as well as at the time, he was when Kanye was, kind of following his faith, Dan was personally mentoring Kanye.
Really?
Yeah. He showed me a picture one time. It was funny when he had, for Thanksgiving, he had Kim Kardashian and Kanye and their family over for dinner on his house. And it was just them and his family and Kanye and his family. I'm like, what the? So it was, so his thing is, his model is always trying to reach, how do we influence the masses?
How do we influence?
So it's all big, bring people in. So now on Trilith, U.S. Soccer Federation is having the headquarters there. F1's going to be building a big racing thing like you see in Dubai. They're building on that property. They're building a very, very big, the number one golf architect in the world is building a golf course there. So it's an opportunity for people to come in. And again, going back to why, so people can be curious of why is it incredible here. Yeah. And then you have Passion City, which is in the center of it all. And then on Sunday, and it is a packed house in that church.
Amazing. This is so amazing, man. Like, I have so many questions. Yeah. I really do. And I know we're limited on time. But I think, like, every time I speak to you, we spend time on the phone, or even when we were at Top Golf the other day where you told me how bad my swing was. I appreciate that.
It's great. This looks good.
But what I love is that you have so many of these highly, like, you're a performance coach for billionaires. And it's not just one, right? You have multiple. Yeah. You have you mentioned them. You mentioned several.
Not even those who are Christian. I'm gonna say, like, I have a couple who are not. So it's an opportunity for me to. I have one guy who's the CEO of a company, and he's definitely not a Christian. Yeah. But he loves everything that we're doing. He loves everything that I'm doing. Wow. He knows I'm in my faith. He loves everything about it.
There's so much in that alone.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to limit our work with people just because they don't believe what we believe.
Yeah. Well, and I connected him to Dan, and I said, like, he texted me yesterday. He goes, I had a great conversation.
Wow.
With Dan about
with this other major.
And this is a Fortune 100.
Fortune 100 CEO.
Yeah. And so, anyway, so it's just.
So I love, these kind of insights to me are so valuable. Like, I want to ask questions around time management.
Yeah.
Based on your experience with these conversations, like, how, at that level, at that level, how are they managing their time? What are they dedicating their time to? Because here's a little bit of my own context, and this is again for our confluencers in the room, the confluencers who are also listening to us. Like, time is something that I've learned to appreciate so much more over time. The older I got, the more I realized I didn't have much of it left. So it caused me to operate with the level of urgency and
Yes.
value. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
So my thinking over the last few years has been on, and I'm a data guy, I like data. So my thinking has been on output per unit of time.
Sure.
How much output can I put out based on the time that I have?
Right, yeah.
And so what I'm always looking at is, and I see people, and even looked over my own life when I'm reflecting and introspecting, I'm either doing three things. I'm either investing my time.
Yes.
I'm either doing with my time, or I'm just consuming time.
That's right, yeah. That's right.
And a lot of times, for example, we can be, nothing against social media, of course, but we can be on social media just consuming.
That's right, yeah.
Time.
That's right, yeah.
Burning hours on irrelevant content.
Yes.
That really doesn't fit. Now listen, if you're an influencer and you're studying other influencers who are monetizing and building their empires respectively, to me that's investing.
That's right.
So now I'm investing my time to master my skills so that with the time that I have left, I can do more.
That's right, yeah.
Y'all with me?
Yeah.
So my output per unit of time becomes greater based on how much I've mastered the skill.
That's right, yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Like in the context of my world, I'm in the business of hedge funds. We raise capital. What I can do with 100 pitches, sitting down with 100 different investors, is very different than what another hedge fund manager can do who's been doing this for 30 years. You with me?
Yeah.
His 100 pitches versus my 100 pitches, he's going to have a much higher output than me because he has dedicated more time to mastering his skill.
That's right.
So same amount of time we both invested. He invested 100 pitches, I invested 100 pitches. But the output is so much greater for him than it is for me because he's invested that time. And so for me, I'm always focused on, am I just consuming time? Am I investing time? I'm okay with investing.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about investing and buying, securities or stocks or what. I'm saying, am I investing in my education? Am I becoming smarter and better at my own craft and expertise? Because if I become better at my expertise, I'm leveraging time. Like I can do more with the time that I have left because I've increased my skill set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So when it comes to just time management, I love having these kind of conversations because now I want to know, well, what about those who are already on top?
Yeah.
How are they? Are they lackadaisical about their time at this point? Are they just hanging back and saying, I arrived and I'm good? Or are they also still massively valuing time?
Yeah, I mean, there's not one that's just lax. Not a single one of them. And they are massively efficient with their time. And I've learned to be massively efficient in my time as well because of that. But there's so many avenues in which you can go. Who you hang around, right? And that's like just that part alone. Is my time an iron sharpens iron with him? Or is it me just constantly reassuring, like just trying to lift you up, right? Or is it me hearing negativity from you and nothing but complaints? Now we want to be love, we want to love on people and have opportunity, but there's opportunity and time for that and space for that, and that's part of your purpose. But if that's constant, then that's not good. So that's just one avenue of your association. Is you have to associate, and that's one thing I will say. So I always teach young entrepreneurs is this. You get 2 to 3 people in your life. You have a board, your own personal board of directors. You have 3 people in your life who just know you the best. They can speak truth into you. You can speak truth into them. You can be vulnerable with them without them judging you, and you can tell your secrets or whatever it is that you need. Accountability partners, you can call it. But they know you the best. I have 2, my best friends in life since one's 8th grade, the other one's college. And then you have 3 other people in your life who are living their life 10 years or more ahead in their trade. Meaning that doesn't mean 10 years or more in their age, 10 years or more in their trade, that where you're at or where you want to be. So if you're a business owner, you find someone who's been doing business 10 years or more who's successful at it, and then they can speak truth into you and provide wisdom. But but then in the next part, so about 2 or 3 of those, and then you have the next part is sages in your life. Right? Like John Eldridge put this, the Fathered by God. Sage, it's a period of life where their sole purpose is to give back to the next generation. So they're going to be probably later on in their career, they're going to be maybe retired, and they know that they need to give back. So you try to find those 3. So those would be kind of more mentors, true mentors. And that's what I have. I have 3 of them. And so it's your personal board of directors. And there's your association to keep you in alignment towards your vision. There's your association to call you out, right? So then that makes it really easy so that everything else around you doesn't need to be time consuming. The only thing that should be time consuming is your family. And that's not even a bad thing, right? Everything else is just there. So I'll tell you one thing that I go to, I say a dinner, right? This is just an example, like a dinner with like a big dinner with people. The ones who I see and who know the Lord, they're not there past 9 o'clock. They're not hanging. They're gone. They say hello. They do their things. They're cordial. They say, they're friendly. And they say hello to their friends, and they are gone.
By 9 o'clock, they're
9:30. It's always the same. Every single one of them. It's like 9:30. Boom. They're in their hotel. They're getting a rest or whatever it is. They need emails, texts. I get texts from Dan at 9:30 at night. It's like clockwork. So so it's very efficient with their time, but the association is, I think, huge. You cannot surround yourself with people who are just taking from you, taking from you, and it's time. So, I can go. I think I can go on and on, but I think that hits a lot to a lot of people because who we surround ourselves the most is we're just a product of our association. And so, and if you're a person right now who has an idea and wants to pursue something and wants to open a business or whatever it is, you need to surround yourself around people who can champion that for you. And they're going to speak positivity in you, not going to laugh in your face, right? And that could be family too, you know what I mean? So you have to chase after, and it could just be one. And you have to accept the fact that sometimes you might just have one friend for a little while. Does that make sense? So
does it make sense? It makes so much sense. And this, man, you're hitting on so much right now. Like, I think about the gap between, let's say, somebody who is broke, and how they see time,
man,
and somebody who, such as Dan, who is already at the pinnacle of success, if you would, and he's still valuing time even more than the other.
Yeah.
And to me, it's almost, man, if I can be honest, it's almost like disruptive, because what happens with a lot of people who are broke, I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
So I know this pain firsthand. I know what it is to be painful, to be broke and be so much in pain that I will intentionally consume time to numb the pain.
1,000%.
I will get distracted. I would put myself in a moment of distraction just so that I'm not reminded about the pain of being broke. And so the irony of that is that I would put time and consume time, but in consuming time, it is keeping me in the same predicament of being broke.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is where you can ask my wife. This is where I lack a little bit of empathy, or sympathy, not empathy. This is where I lack a little bit of sympathy, only because I've been in your shoes as well. You know, I've been broke as broke can be, and hit success and broke again. And your mind controls your body. You got to get up. You've got to put the phone down. You've got to get away from those friends. You've got to chase after whatever it is. Like I said earlier, take steps, take steps. If you just sit there, you're just going to wonder why, like, oh, man, I wish I'd have done that. Or you're sitting there like, this is absolutely pathetic, but you're not doing anything about it. So I'm not very sympathetic. I mean, I am sympathetic, but like the only thing that you got to do is you just got to get up and you got to take steps.
Get up.
You've got to take steps as a person. And if it doesn't work out and you trip on that way, okay, then keep going. You know, like that's just the thing. And like going back to what I was saying earlier, it's so much more when you know the Lord and you just are just crying to him on a daily basis and maybe even angry towards him. You got to have the confidence that if he puts something in your heart and in your mind, it is God ordained, and you have the full confidence to chase after it. Now, it might not work. It might in your eyes think that you fail, but in God's eyes, it is not a failure. It's a door closed so that the next door opens up. Amen. And that's what we have to remember. It's like, I don't believe in failure as a Christian, and we were talking about that earlier. I don't believe in that. I believe it's an opportunity for God to teach us and grow us as human beings and as Christians, but it's also opportunity for God to close he's going to force close a door. If you're not going to get out the way, he's going to force close it, and then another door opens. But it's our duty to take the step into that next door. And you have to recognize it. But the only way we recognize that, if we have discernment, the only way we get discernment and wisdom is if we're getting in that word. And that's the only way. And if we're in touch and praying with him on a daily basis, man, that's the only way. And so
is so much, dude. It's so good. This is so good, man. Like you have to stick in the word. You have to. Yeah. You said something, excuse me, that I loved just now. You talked about the confidence to do. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have all the answers. All the stars are not aligned.
That's right.
But there's a certain confidence that you have to do. And I remember us having one of the many conversations we've had where you shared something along the lines of going back to Dan and his family, which, again, I have learned to love from afar. You mentioned that they operate with excellence and they operate with speed.
Yes.
Because they have the confidence to go after what God has put in their heart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is the, Truett, the founder of Chick-fil-A, was, most generous human beings on the face of this earth, but also just intentional with the purpose of why are we successful. Right? And it's all kingdom focused. It's all kingdom driven. So that passed along. There's systems that there are systems in place that where everyone within the family understands that, and it's just fed into them. So it allows them to just operate at a level that, like, we can take this to the moon because God is with us along the side. And if we can, and then people can say, well, that's easy to do. You guys are already billionaires. It's easy to do that in the resources. That makes it a ton times harder. When you're in the limelight and you got billions, there's so many more roadblocks when you have that. You have people saying you can't invest in this because you have a family office president who's running your funds for you. You have, so things, and you have, and crushing your dream, right? You have a board of directors that's crushing opportunity here. You have the media who could potentially say what you're doing is wrong and all this kind of stuff. And just take one word that you might say. And now you have AI. It's crazy. So the thing is, we just have to keep everything that we do, focus on purpose and focus on kingdom. And if we can do that, we can charge on with a ton of armor, with a ton of confidence, and you can accomplish anything, literally anything. But again, the one thing I want to stress is that even you may have an idea or a passion right now, but do not be demoralized when it doesn't work out according to your plan. Remember, it is not your plan. It is not your vision. It is God's vision that he's using you as a tool. So you have to make sure that you get out of your way and know that you are a tool and a vessel for the Lord. And so that when we have that, and God puts that into us, we can go at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and we may get hit, we may quote unquote fail in the world society, but God is still reigns in us, and God is still going to lift you up, and God's still going to put you where he wants you to be, as long as you're continuing to run.
Come on, put your hands together for that. Put your hands. This is so good. We're coming up on time.
Yeah,
bro, you know, we're probably going to keep talking even after this because I'm going to call you. We're going to have some more conversation.
Yes.
Because this is too good. Now I know we're coming up on time. And the audience, from what I understand, has submitted some questions. If you haven't yet, the QR code is up to your left and right. For those of you who are watching and listening to us right now, we do have a live audience here, some Confluencers in the building. Make some noise one more time, Confluencers. And so they're in the building, and some have submitted some questions, and so we want to make sure we can give a few minutes to at least tackle these questions, all right? So we have some that just popped up. It says, what's your best advice for someone trying to transition from a corporate job to starting their own business?
Oh, man. That's probably the harder one there, because you're going from stability to risk, right? So that is, and so that is one of the harder ones, but it is the most fruitful ones. I'll tell you that for sure. Here's I'm gonna give you a mental and a physical thing that you can, or a mechanical one. Mental is you're gonna have to accept the fact that it's gonna be difficult, and you're gonna have to accept the fact that you're gonna doubt.
It's not gonna happen overnight.
No, you have to accept that in your mind. You just have to.
Thank you for breaking that. Thank you for dispelling that.
That's the mental. That's the mental part. Now the mechanical parts is like things like, yes, like be a little bit strategic. Don't put yourself, especially if you have a family, I think don't put yourself in a situation where it's going to be desolate, but or you're going to be, in a really, really bad place. It doesn't mean you have to save up millions of dollars or anything like that. But on a mechanical standpoint, it just goes back to you have to every single day, take a step towards that next, starting your own business. So if you have an idea right now, tomorrow you're starting an LLC, you're getting on LegalZoom. I don't care how it is. Get on LegalZoom and just get an LLC. That's to the person who's in here right now who's thinking of that. Or get on, just start somewhere. It doesn't, so the one thing that prohibits us as entrepreneurs or as future entrepreneurs is that we feel like we have to make it perfect. You don't have to make it perfect right away. You don't. You know how many logos started terrible? You know what I mean? Like you think you have a perfect logo? No, get on Fiverr, pay $10, just start somewhere.
That's so good.
Just start. And then every day work towards that dream. Every single day. Like you have to. Like your time is precious. And then start weaning out the things that are going to distract you from that dream, from that vision. That is
so good.
So one mechanical, and then obviously as Christians, we just walk around with palms up. You have to walk around daily with your palms up to surrender and to receive. And that's,
I love that. And to piggyback off of that, I'm going to add another thing that came to mind while you were talking as well. For those of you guys who are looking to start your business, I would also go and challenge you to prove the model. In that, I would say don't go and spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to have the perfect website with the perfect logo, as Robin mentioned. I would say, no, just get yourself incorporated. LLC costs you $100, $200, and you have this idea. Present that idea to somebody in such a way that they're willing to pull out their wallet and commit to you.
That's right, 100%. Oh man,
like yes. prove the model.
Yes.
Prove the model in the sense, like, even if it's a matter of, hey, listen, I'll do this is what I can do, and you give them your presentation and your pitch. I can do X, Y, Z, and these are the results you can expect. And they'll be interested. And you tell them, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll do it for free for the first 2 months. So long as the 10 months after that, you give me a contract and commitment that you'll continue to pay me this much for it. But what are we doing? We're getting into agreement, and you are now my first customer. And by the way, I'm also going to ask you to give me a testimony.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to use, right? I'm going to do the work for free the first 1 or 2 months. I'm going to show you what I can do, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to see the results.
Yes.
You're going to contract me for the next 10 months, and I'm going to make money. But I'm also going to use your testimony because you're going to tell people just how good I am.
That's right. Yeah. I've done that.
And I do that multiple times.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now I have 10 different customers with 10 different testimonials who I can now leverage, and people now are seeing that I'm working with multiple people. And guess what? I also have 10 contracts in flight right now. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. That's exactly
Great
it,
question.
yeah.
Fantastic question. Is there another question that we would have to pop up on the screens here? Oh, yeah, no one just popped up. Okay. How do you effectively integrate faith and marketplace content via social media? Geez, this is a deep question. To authentically reflect both sides while still engaging your audience in a meaningful way as an entrepreneur who is also a minister.
Whoa, that's good. I think it goes that part of that goes back to, the opportunity for people to become curious, right? And so I think one thing that allows me to get in spaces where I'm at is because I am highly relational too, like very, very relational. So if you can find opportunities within your transactional job or whatever it is that you're doing, find opportunities to become relational with that. That is the number one thing that represents Jesus is love. And so that if we can, but that's me though. I'm a big person on curiosity of like, why is that company thriving? But what is it? But then your statement, then you have like small, again, this is now, we're becoming mechanical a little bit of like creating a purpose statement for your life and purpose statement for your business. And it might not say, we love Jesus, we're gonna crush it because we love Jesus, but we can say is like we want an opportunity for people in our community to understand why we are the way we are, right? And that's your internal purpose. So it's creating things that provide people opportunity to become curious. Now your relational skills, your product should speak excellence because God has called us to be excellent. And then if we want to truly represent the Lord, we need to operate excellent. If we want to be ambassadors for his kingdom, so what we do, it should be of excellence, in my opinion. And then that, again, with an excellent product, an excellent customer service, or higher relational, that provides people to become curious. And then you get to know, okay, well, yes, I can see that they're very purpose-driven. They're involved with the church, that company. They're investing into, or they've provided, they're funding this house, whatever, Ronald McDonald House is an example. Right? Yeah. So then you start getting, then that gets people, what that does is that provides not only people become curious, but then they come alongside you and then they want to invest into you. It doesn't matter what faith that they are, but they know that you're purpose driven, when not with a capital P, with a lowercase p, and then they want to come alongside you and invest into you, want to come alongside something that's excellent, but they know why it is. So then just planting seeds, just kind of continue, be patient and allow God to do his thing. Through you. Remember, this is not your business. This is not you. You're not who you are. You're for the King and for the Lord. And so then allow God to work through you, not around you, through you.
Come on. So good. So good. Yes. All right. We have time for, I think, probably two more questions. If we have it coming on the screen, or if you guys want to ask one. Here we go. One just popped up here. Can you share a tip on how to make intentional introductions when networking? Woo!
Oh man,
dude, this is you can crush this one.
It's I don't know. Again, going back to being highly relational, you got to be especially as a Christian in our world and as a follower of Jesus, like be an excellent listener. Ask a lot of questions.
Which is what you said earlier about Dan. When you spoke to him,
the
first thing he was doing was asking you questions.
Bunch of questions, yeah. And that's what I do every time I meet somebody. Good. Yeah. If I meet a new client or a new person, I just ask, tell me about you. I don't know if you know it, but like I do this to you every time I see anybody I see, like, tell me what's going on in life. How are you? What's going on?
Absolutely.
So then it allows people
every single time.
Every time. And that's just embedded into me that I can just say, hey, what's going on? So then it allows people to just go, oh, and I can feel comfortable around him. And again, what we're doing, if they don't know Jesus, it allows them to be curious of why is Robin, so why do I feel comfortable around Robin? And then it gets an opportunity for me to just pour into them of maybe my story or what God's doing in my life and things like that. So just be a great listener. But sometimes especially when we get around people who we want to know all of their knowledge, Blah, 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 blah. Actually, I tell people when they're dating too, it's like, try to be quiet for a little bit. If they're like friends of mine who are dating or whatever, like try to be quiet for a little bit and just ask questions. You'll be surprised how much they think that you're an incredible person. All right, and same thing goes when you're networking. Just ask questions. Just ask. Be there. Be a good listener. Just look at them in the eye and give them things like that. And so
that's what you'd be doing to me.
Yeah. So it's worked. It worked.
But it's so good though, because I think it was Dr. Mike Murdock. I read many of his books, and he was the one who, I remember him saying, at least, I'm not sure if he came up with it, but he said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It's obviously meant to listen 2 times more than you talk. And so I think for a tip for networking, listen. Be a great listener. Ask good questions. A good answer is always going to be the slave of a good question. Good answers only surface if a good question is asked. And so when networking, I would totally focus on asking questions and then listening really good. Because people want to talk. You'll be surprised that people want to talk about themselves. And you'll learn a ton if you're willing to listen. This is something else that I've seen so many times. I've been privileged to sit at tables similar to you with billionaires, with highly influential people in the Christian community as well. Mega pastors who we all know by name if I were to mention their names. And I'm having the opportunity to sit at a small table of 10, 15 people having dinner together. And what you'd be surprised, I'm surprised, of how much other people talk. When you have the gift right there. Like they're just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, dude, how about you ask them a question and let them talk? Right? Because that's where the knowledge is. You're trying to impress him or her with your intellect, your stories or what have you, and what you're doing is you're consuming time. Because really and truly, if you get them to talk, that's where the value is. The value is getting them to talk because you don't have that kind of access all the time. That's right. So for those of you into networking and you're looking to network, especially particularly with high value, high accredited investors, whatever the case might be, like ask questions and let them talk so you can capture and gain access. And when you listen really well, you can build relationships really well. And the more authentic your relationship is, the more inclined they are to pick up the phone when you call. So don't be transactional, be relational.
Very true. It's very, very true.
All right. Do we have time for one more? What time is it now? Well, I think we're right at our time. So listen, first of all, that was pretty good, right?
Yeah, good job. He got the talking to backstage. He goes, state of time. Ursula, state of time.
Yeah, Ursula's not playing. Listen, to all the Confluencers in the building, Confluencers who are listening online, I love you. I absolutely love you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to be with us. Thank you, Robin. Man, this has been such a gift, such a good time. Man, I really, really appreciate your time with us as well. Man, we got to do this again. Yeah. Should we have him back again? Yeah, this was really, really good. It's so powerful.
Thank
man.
you. Yeah.
I tell you, to all the Confluencers, those of you who are here in the building, those of you who are listening, I just want to take a quick moment and pray for you, if that's okay. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every person who is in this room. I thank you, Lord, for every person who is listening to this podcast. God, we don't believe in coincidence. We just believe that it's all divine. So we, Lord, know that this is a divine setup for a massive transformation. I pray, God, that you provide so much clarity and favor tonight, that something that we shared, something that was said, would just connect into their spirit. And that just as the parable says in the Bible, that it would fall on good ground. We don't want it to fall on ground that it sprints up and then nothing happens with it. But Lord, we want the gems, the word, the insights, the scriptures to fall on good ground and let it take root in our spirits. I pray, Father, for supernatural growth in their lives. I pray, God, that they have so much peace and clarity as they deliver on their purpose. I pray, Lord, for open doors that will literally blow their mind according to the book of Amos. I pray, God, for my dear friend Robin, with everything that he's doing, both in the for-profit and the non-profit. I pray, God, that you open up massive doors for him as well, because he was so generously willing to give of his time and want to sow into us with his information and wisdom and access. I pray, God, that you bless him doubly for it. We thank you, Lord, for all that you're doing. In the name of Jesus Christ. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
Amen. You guys enjoyed it tonight?
Yeah, that's good.
Listen, for those of you guys in the building and online, once again, we appreciate you guys. If you wanted to partner with us, we're always looking for new partners, our current partners. There's different ways that you can partner so we can continue doing this. And we have so many of our guests that we will be flying in, that we're going to be catering to, and all these things, of course, as you know, require expenses. And so if you want to partner with us, if you're led in your heart to partner with us, whether you're in the building or those watching online, we ask that you do. We try to make it as easy as possible to give. You can give with Cash App, which our handle is Accelerate Now 2024. You can give with Givelify, our website. There's different ways to just partner with us as a ministry. This is ministry. And our heart is to combine, to merge faith and marketplace. And we want to do this for free. We do this for free. But if you have in your heart to partner with us, if you're listening and this has blessed you and you want to partner with us, we ask that you partner with us in such a way that we can continue to do this exponentially more. Once again, man, we love you, Confluencers. You guys are our heart. On behalf of my wife and I, my wife who could not be here today, we absolutely love you. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.